They are Abedang and Supriyo Chakrabarti. They are one of those millions of people who want the same-sex marriage to be legalized in India. And they are one of those thousands of people who went to the Supreme Court to attend the hearing on April 20th, 2023. So if you don't know, the Supreme Court of India has been hearing a lot of arguments about the legal recognition of same-sex marriage in India. And the discussions have been inconclusive so far.
The Special Marriage Act says man and woman. The very notion of a man and a notion of a woman is not an absolute. Based on what genitals you have.
Biological man, my lord, means man only. It means, my lord, biological man. My lord, long back in our country, the law was, all that is required is the welfare of the child.
बेटा किया था प्यार, लेकिन वो लड़की थी, कन्या। तुमने पुरुष से प्यार किया, लड़के से।
Abedang and Supriyo Chakrabarti are from Hyderabad. A year ago, they held a big ceremony to celebrate their partnership. But even being accepted from their family members and from their parents, they are not considered legally married under the Indian law. They want to be recognized as a legally married couple so they can have those same legal rights as straight couples, like being able to adopt children, file joint taxes, share bank accounts, and have inheritance rights. Now, just like them, the government claims that there are 2.5 million gay population in India, while gay right campaigners claim that the population of gay in India is over 100 million. But people a country having such a huge gay population, the question is why same-sex marriage is still a problem in India. Well, in India, marriage is not just about love and companionship. It is considered as an act that comes with certain social, cultural and religious meanings. Indian society has always been patriarchal. That means it is always male dominated. So this act of marriage is a process that has been set by patriarchy and defined by gender roles for centuries. In our country, love between even men and women is discouraged due to the things like caste, culture, racism, and even after the marriage, having a child becomes the most important thing in the life. The entire marriage system is based on procreation. And the idea of having kids is so deeply rooted in our culture that it is difficult for many people to accept same-sex marriage. Not only that, in India, most of the laws regarding marriage and divorce have been made keeping in mind the idea of heterosexual marriage. These laws include the idea of providing rights to women, domestic violence, dowry, child custody, etc. Allowing LGBTQ+ community participation in these laws will require massive amendments in interpreting them as spouses and other terms that are mentioned in the laws. Some people believe that the same-sex marriage is a Western concept and that these practices will only lead to the degradation of Indian society. They blame the internet for exposing children to things that they believe are against Indian culture. However, the truth is that homosexuality has existed in India for centuries, but the shame that the society put on to these people prevented people from being vocal about it. Even before the British came, India had its own law, court and legal system. But after the British ruled India, the Indian laws were heavily influenced and modified by the British, Dutch and French. Back when India was ruled by British, they introduced laws that criminalized same-sex relationships. These laws were then adopted by the Indian government, which is why same-sex marriage is not legal in India. People, since 1987, there have been many reports of same-sex marriage in India. These marriages are usually between young women from small towns and rural areas who have no connection to the LGBTQ+ community. In the book Same-Sex Love in India, author Ruth Vinitha analyzed dozens of such marriages and suicides that had taken place over the past 3 decades. In her book, it is said that many of these marriages can be considered legally valid under the Hindu Marriage Act 1955. This act claimed that any marriage between two Hindus are legally valid if they are performed according to the customs prevalent in the community. Also, the Madras High Court said that the same-sex marriage is allowed in historical Hinduism and the law does not forbid homosexual acts. The Hindu Marriage Act was made by the colonial government to regulate issues like divorce. So even though the act was made long time back, it does not say that same-sex couples cannot marry each other. The issue of same-sex marriage is a complex one. Well, thank you for watching. My name is Aayush and you are watching The Inside Story.